You've probably seen Boo Foods at Whole Foods, Target, or even that viral TikTok video about their cookie dough. They've got keto bars, vegan truffles, low sugar cookie dough, basically every clean eating trend in one brand. And they should be unstoppable, but the thing is, their backend is holding them back. First of all, the pop-up traps you in an endless SMS loop where they basically force you to give them your phone number and verify the phone number by receiving the code, which never actually arrives. And the emails that they're sending are beautiful, but there's no strategy whatsoever. There's no persuasion, there's no conviction building. Before even knowing what the brand is, I started receiving sales blasts, discount offers, countdowns, and this is the classic DTC trap. It's just heavy on aesthetics, sales, discounts, but super light on actual strategy, persuasion, conviction building. You see 95% of visitors leave without buying, not because they're not interested, but because the conviction needed to buy on the first visit is just too high. And without back-end persuasion in place, those visitors are never coming back unless the brand spends more ad spend, gets more ads, and retargets them. In this video, I'm going to show you the strategy I would use for Boo Foods. I'm going to show you everything from the email capture to the acquisition flows to decrease the CPA to the retention flows to increase the LTV. I'm even going to give you some real templates so that you can replicate this for your brand. If you're in Klaviyo right now, this is the video you need. Okay, so this is the problem Boo Foods is having, and likely the problem that you are having as well. Let me start from the beginning. As you know, this brand is getting traffic on site from their organic content as well as paid ads, and only 2 to 5% of that traffic is converting into a customer on site. So on the first visit, only 2 to 5% are converting. That's why this brand's conversion rate will be around 2 to 5%. But the other 97%, 95% of visitors weren't just dead weight. They were interested. They had some level of interest in the brand, because if they didn't, they wouldn't be on site. They had some level of interest, but they did not buy because they didn't have enough conviction needed to buy on the first visit. Because a 60-second browsing session isn't enough to build a conviction. Same with a 15-second ad, okay? So what you need to do is you need to capture their info and retarget them using an owned channel. It lets you have unlimited touch points without having to spend an extra penny on ads. The first step to implementing all of this is email collection. So I'm going to share with you the strategy we use to capture up to 10 times more visitors. Okay, the average Shopify store is converting about 2 to 5% of visitors into email subscribers. But I'm going to show you how we can almost 10x that using this strategy. So step number 1, you want to have a look at this report inside of your Shopify. It's called Sessions by Landing Page. Have a look at all of the landing pages that are getting significant traffic. For blog and content pages, you want to have a pop-up that's offering a free incentive that does not require a purchase. For collection pages, product pages, and the homepage, you want to have a pop-up offering a discount that basically is an incentive to buying, okay? It can be 15% off, it can be free shipping, it can be a free gift above a certain amount, anything that will incentivize them to buy. So that's step number 1, having different pop-ups with different incentives on different pages, because the awareness level of people who read blogs is going to be different because they are on the site to learn something, to learn more about something, whereas the people on collection pages and product pages are there to buy, okay? They're considering buying. That's why we need different pop-ups on these pages. And then we are going to test as many incentives as possible. The most important thing when it comes to email collection is the incentive and how the incentive is framed, okay? So we would ask the brand, hey, what incentives are you willing to give? List every incentive you're able to give. Okay, even if it sounds that it's not going to perform well, sometimes we can find a certain framing angle to make an incentive sound super good. Okay, so step number 1, we would test incentives, then we would test formats. By format, I mean how the pop-up is structured. So instead of having the email input field on the first step, we'd have one format like this and one format like this, okay? Different formats, and we would basically test every variable on the pop-up. Here are some A/B tests that we've done, okay? So basically testing as many variables as we can, for example, getting rid of the close icon and seeing how that affects it, adjusting the speed timing and seeing how that performs, changing the size of the pop-up, so normal size versus full page, changing the trigger timing of the pop-up, so testing every variable possible systematically, okay, one by one. And yeah, that's how we would get this 10x in email capture. Now, before we start going onto the flows, on the pop-up, we need to ask one key question, okay? one high leverage question, which is going to help us personalize the welcome flows and speak differently to people depending on why they're buying the product or what problem they're trying to fix. Okay, for example, for this brand, Blue Foods, it could be something like, what do you value the most? One option can be taste, one option can be nutrition, and another option could be something like if it's organic and GMO friendly. So we basically understand what they value the most. Okay, that's just a rough question I came up with from the top of my head, but before coming up with a question, we would study all of the customer reviews. Okay, we'd study all of the customer reviews, right? All of the in-depth customer reviews, would neglect the short ones that are not useful. We'd study them, would see why are people buying, what are the core segments, and then we would come up with the segmentation question to determine these segments. Okay, but as I'm just making this quick video, I just gave you an example from the top of my head. Now, once we've got this data, we can now personalize the flows. But now, before we go on to the flows, I need to tell you about a step that most Shopify brands miss, and that's the warm-up. They could have been sending emails for years, but because they don't know how to properly send emails, and they're basically sending emails like a beginner, making mistakes. I've got a full video on the mistakes that are affecting your deliverability. But basically, almost every brand I've audited, 9 out of 10 times, they have an issue with deliverability. Either they're restricted by certain ESPs, for example, like this, Hotmail is only 20% compared to Gmail and other inboxes. Okay, so they're really restricted, or their entire open rates are low. Okay, so to fix this, what we do is we've developed a warm-up infrastructure. It's a flow, it's a complex flow. Now we can just copy and paste this over to your account if you want. Just get a lead magnet on our homepage, and it basically segments the email list automatically and strategically sends them warm-up emails across the next 4 weeks to warm up the domain again and have these results. Okay, by simply implementing and turning on a flow and automation. Once this is done and nailed, that's when the email strategy actually matters, because if you're landing in spam, it doesn't matter how good the emails are, how good the strategy is, because it's not going to get seen. So now the strategy. First, I'm going to walk you through the acquisition flows, okay, to decrease the CPA. You've got a welcome flow, you've got the endless nurture flow, you've got the downsell flow, and you've got abandonment flows. Okay, first of all, the welcome flow. The purpose of the welcome flow is to basically convert the lowest hanging fruit, which is the next awareness level after the people that have already bought. So people that are product aware, they are considering between this brand and other brands. They know there is a product that they want, but they're just considering which brand to go with, because Blue Foods isn't the only brand offering healthy, tasty snacks, right? There's an ocean of brands out there with the same promises. So this welcome flow, first of all, is going to remind them about the discount on the pop-up. It's going to introduce the brand. It's going to talk about the USP. It's going to follow up in unique ways to stand out in the inboxes. Okay, and yeah, that's basically answering why this brand over other brands. But the thing is, even after this flow, more than 95% of people are not going to convert, because most people are just problem aware, solution aware. They are not product aware. So what we need to do is we need to build desire and trust using different angles. Okay, let me show you where this is inside of the endless nurture flow, where we basically use every persuasion angle. Every objection is handled. We mention all of the reasons why they should buy from this brand. We mention the USPs of the products, what makes them unique, using micro-topic emails that are easy to digest. We don't want to make the emails about too many topics or too much info. It needs to be laser focused on one thing about the brand, and every email has a clear objective. Okay, it either builds trust or builds desire. We have derived over 30 angles that build trust and over 20 angles that build desire from these books, and also from the countless campaigns we've sent out over the last 3 years. We've taken all of that info, we've tested it, and now we are automating it using Flow, so that every current and future subscriber can receive these emails, and so that you don't just waste all of the effort you're putting into email marketing on just campaigns, because campaigns are just going to vanish. They're never going to be seen again after you send them once. So you want to focus on stuff that is high leverage. You want to nail the high leverage stuff, the stuff that will work for you day and night for years to come, okay? So you need to nail this flow. You need to use every angle possible. For example, a logical angle using studies and statistics, an emotional angle using common experiences, a plain text email with common experiences, angles to build trust, handle objections, answer shortcomings, answer objections like, yes, we are expensive, but here is why. Because every e-commerce brand has this objection, because your customers can get a product that is similar from the local brick and mortar or from Amazon for much cheaper and much faster. So you need to answer, why should they go with you if you're expensive? Okay, you need to handle it up front, turn the negative into a positive, and yeah, show behind the scenes. Okay, because once they see behind the scenes, and it just gives a whole different view of what happens, right? Now, if they see these behind the scenes, for example, how the products are made, or maybe your story, and then if they come across a similar brand selling a similar product, they would have a higher affinity, a higher stickiness to your brand compared to the other brand, even if it's the same price, the same product, or just because they got to see the behind the scenes of how stuff is made, or a story, or whatever. It's going to be easier for them to go with you instead of some other brand. Okay, so you're basically building trust and building desire, one touch point at a time, using different angles. And if we keep doing this for an extended period of time, for months on autopilot, using different angles, at some point in time, they are going to reach a conviction threshold after which they are going to buy. By the way, you're already spending money to get traffic on site, right? But here's the thing, 97% of that traffic is going to leave after one visit and is never going to come back. We just helped one brand go from 5% to 17% email capture rate by making 3 simple tweaks that you can make as well. There's a free guide in the description that shows you how. It'll take you 10 minutes to implement, but it's going to grow your brand's lifetime asset, which is your email list, 4 times faster. Okay, now this conviction threshold can be a few days away, or it can be months away. That's why this flow, this endless nurture flow, spans across 4 months. It's about 40 emails with winning angles that spans across 4 months. And alongside the endless nurture flow, we have the downsell flow. It's a sequence of 4 offers. Each offer has an announcement campaign, an announcement email, launch email, a countdown email, using unique angles. Okay, all right, unique angles that are not just some regular sale. All right, and each offer has a time delay of 3 weeks in between. So basically, it's one offer, then they wait 3 weeks, and then it's a second offer. And the reason we do this is because this endless nurture flow is going to be nurturing for the next few months, and every 3 weeks or 2 weeks, we want to give them a chance to buy. All right, and this downsell flow is only going to be triggering on people who have never bought. Okay, so you don't have to worry about becoming one of those brands that just always send discounts. This is a very narrow flow that goes out to a specific segment in your email list that meet a specific criteria. And then you have the abandonment flows. I'm not going to go too deep into them, but one thing I will say is the most common misconception is that you need to remind your customers about a cart or the product they viewed. Look, the reason they left, the reason they did not buy isn't because they forgot. The reason is there was hesitation, there were objections, they did not have enough trust, and they didn't have enough desire. Okay, so inside of your abandonment flows, don't just have an email like, hey, you left your cart, click here to come back. Don't do that. You can mention that if you want, but at the bottom of the emails, inside of every email, you want to have nurturing content. Okay, that builds desire or builds trust, or just like personally handle objections like this, like a personal email. And yeah, that's abandonment flows. That's going to decrease this brand CPA, get them more conversions without spending an extra penny on ads. Next, the LTV. How can we increase the LTV using this owned channel? So let me show you. First of all, we have this flow, which is the immediate upsell flow. It's a unique mechanism where they can add another product to their order. So this email is going to go out 5 minutes after they've placed an order, and they will get a chance to add more products to their existing order. So it's the existing order ID, the same shipment. They will have 30 minutes to add the product, and they get a discount for it. And to make this flow actually convert, we have to look at this report inside of the Shopify called items bought together, and we'll see what are the most frequently bought together products. And based on that, we would have different emails, okay? Different emails with different products being suggested based on what they just bought, okay? And then when it comes to getting the second purchase and the third purchase, before we can get onto that, we need to lay ground for loyalty. So we've got 3 flows. First of all, you need a warm, personal, heartfelt thank you, okay? Coming from one person. Do you not have a template type, corporation type of thank you email, okay? Be personal, right? Be human, and thank them genuinely, okay? You're not going to get revenue out of this. It's just going to take it beyond the transactional level, okay? And then after 2 weeks, you want to check in with them, genuinely ask them, hey, is everything okay? How did you like it, etc., etc. And you want to, if you want, you can use this trick to get more positive reviews on your third-party review platforms, You can present them with 5 options. Okay, the 2 positive options can go to the third-party review website. The 3 neutral or negative ones can go to an internal Google form. So you're strategically directing reviews, and that's actually going to help you, because if you get the neutral and negative reviews in an internal form, you can improve your products, you can improve your processes, and it's not going to affect your front end, because when customers come across your ad, they're going to Google your name, you're going to check out Google reviews, Trustpilot, and other third-party websites. So that's going to get you more reviews, and also you're checking in with them. Okay, you're generally showing that you care. And then you also have the endless loyalty flow. This flow, again, is not about revenue. It's about building loyalty, laying ground for loyalty. This flow is just value-based content, okay? You're providing value beyond what your products are for, okay? Of course, show them how to use the products. We do that too. But go a step further. Give them more value about other stuff they're doing in their life. For example, this is for a powerlifting brand that sells powerlifting accessories. Instead of just talking about the products, we talked about, hey, here's 5 recovery hacks, okay? And make sure that the content is genuinely useful, okay? Don't just have some AI generated content. Make sure it's useful and it's actionable. And then have content that reaffirms the decision that they've made the right choice, they've picked the right brand, all right? Make them feel part of a community, and then just keep sending this type of content, all right? And then we have this flow, this first to second purchase flow. This is not a generic win-back flow. This is a win-back flow specifically for first-time customers, because the second largest chunk inside of your email list consists of profiles with 1 purchase, okay? So instead of them sitting in your email list, just getting generic campaigns, okay? Because revenue of campaigns primarily comes from repeat purchases, not non-buyers, not profiles of 1 purchase, etc. It primarily comes from profiles that are already buying again and again, okay? So you want to have flows that are personalized to first-time customers, okay? Where the copy personally says, hey, you've tried our product for the first time, how was it? And then you just keep following up for months, okay? I'm not saying to spam them. I'm just saying every 2 or 3 weeks, have an automated email that goes out using different offers, using different angles. And again, this is specifically for first-time customers. It's not going to go out to everyone. So yeah, you don't have to worry about you sounding cheap or something, because the copy specifically mentions, hey, you placed 1 order, okay? Here's why you're getting this offer, etc. Basically, the copy personally acknowledges the reason why they are getting the offer and why it's exclusively just for them. And it actually sounds real, because it's true. They placed 1 order, they've tried it once, and we acknowledge that inside of the emails. And this is similar to the downsell flow. This flow contains about 5 different offers that the brand is comfortable giving, and each offer has an announce, a launch, and a follow-up. And so basically each offer goes out every 3 weeks. We want to keep giving them a chance to buy. But the trigger of this flow, when does this flow actually start? We don't just guess that. We have a look at this graph by this app. You just have to download this app. It's on a free trial, and it's going to give you this graph, which shows you the time between orders, between first time to second order. So first order to second order, it shows you the time gap between the two for customers that have reordered. So you can basically see what are the significant times at which most people have reordered. So 80%, that's 30 days. So for this brand specifically, this is not for Boo Foods, okay? This is for another brand. But for this brand, 80% of the people that reordered after 30 days. So that's when, in this case, based on this data, this flow would trigger after 30 days. This can be very different based on your brand. Sometimes it can be 90 days, sometimes it can be 100 days. It really depends on your brand. You just have to download this and see for yourself. It's free. And then we have a flow for repeat purchases. Again, this is personalized to repeat purchases. We acknowledge that, hey, you've bought multiple times. Thank you for choosing us time and time again. And you just want to have offers lined up. This is going to span across a year. Have offers lined up in case they don't buy, okay? Or in case they forget, because they get busy in their life. And then you have a referral flow. That's going to be going out to people who have bought multiple times. And if they can get a discount for referring people, family, friends, that have a similar desire or same pain point, why would they not get a discount on their future purchases and also give their family and their friend a discount? So yeah, using these flows, we can increase the LTV. And the best thing is they don't spend a penny on ad spend for all of this. And they can get results like this, tripling their flow revenue, adding significantly more revenue to their total store revenue. So it's not just about how much revenue is coming from email, it's about how much revenue is being added to the bottom line. Here's another case study that you can go and watch from 19K per month to 135K per month using the system, 100K per month to 164K per month simply by implementing this system where the revenue is directly attributed to those flows. You can see the reactions of some of our clients after implementing the system. So yeah, if you want to get the templates and the angles and the deliverability infrastructure as well as the pop-up strategy, just go and opt in to our free training on our homepage. It's free. It should be thousands of dollars, but we're giving it away for free so that you can see for yourself how well this works.